Could be my bad. I'm trying to make it plain in Monaco.
If I lose versus Dungeons, I might actually...
Oh shit! Wait, I got inside information.
You miss your ulti and we all die.
Are you retarded?
Let's just go into it. Let's look at draft. Again, it's fearless draft. For example, Aribo is an Udyr main. If enemy team was to take Udyr, he can no longer play it, and vice versa. One trick top, he mains Garen, Darius, kind of similar to Adam in LEC. Jungle, AD, and support plays a lot of champions. Mid and top, one tricks. I'm not saying one trick in a negative sense. I'm just saying they are the ones that are the easiest to target in the draft. Now, on Team Nemesis, Aribo would be the one trick. He's kind of one-tricking gameplay. He will play the same way regardless of the champion. Augurin, for the most part, does that as well. Drutut, he plays a lot of funny champions, Briar, range tops, but he can also play traditional champions like Gwen and Camille. He locks in Gragas, but there's a difference between locking in and playing a champion. Their bot lane, Tommy really likes Bard, but he is a challenger player. He can play other champions, but his Bard is a lot better than his other champions. Their ADC, pretty versatile, just AD champions, right? Enemy support, Trayton, multiple challenger support player, plays Bard as well. So Bard is a shared contestable pick between both. I'll also be playing their comms in the background here. For draft, I want us to be able to hear what they're discussing as well.
Bard first pick.
So when we see Bard, we can think, okay, you can go fresh into Bard. You want to avoid having like immobile champs against Bard. Playing stuff like Syndra and Hui and those type of mages versus Bard is giving Bard an ult target. And if you ever lose your flash because of a fight or even just you using your flash in a good way, Bard is going to have windows where he can punish you, similar to like Leona ulti.
No, calm down.
What about Veikos? Interesting.
What about Vel'Koz Udyr?
So we're talking about Vel'Koz because enemy
just
plays
a star.
Vel'Koz. My problem with it is I wouldn't want to play Vel'Koz in any role against Bard. Vel'Koz mid against Bard, you're just gonna get ulted, you're gonna get roamed on. It's not an easy game to play. Picking Vel'Koz here super early, they could still go a lot of like dive, like Nocturne Vi, these type of things. So they pick Udyr for comfort. When you're thinking about Corki here, you also gotta factor in that they would want Vel'Koz, right? So both Corki and Trist are pretty good against Vel'Koz. Because Nem is saying Trist can't buffer Bardar, which is true, but you can easily buffer Vel'Koz E. Assuming it's Trist versus Vel'Koz is not bad at all. You can also do things like Doran's Blade, Cull, and Fleet into things like Vampiric into Bork, and you can tank all of Vel'Koz's poke as well. Whereas Corki, you only have Absorb Life and Fleet, you don't get Lifesteal. I think both champs work well.
Just pick Corki. They're both fine.
When Bard is locked in, you have to think about interacting with his ulti. Corki is fine. This is my second option. I think Tristana is slightly better champion. It's very close. With Udyr, having more DPS is nice because he's very tanky and can tank for you. Tristana's more DPS. Corki is a bit stronger in lane when Q poke and stuff like this.
Yeah.
That's fine, that's fine.
So enemy team locks in Jinx versus Jinx. You can go Varus like they said.
What? Okay. Varus is gonna get Bard ulted.
I think Ezreal is way better.
Thing is, you can also go Sigs against Jinx, but you have Udyr, for example.
What about Zeri?
Yeah, but it's a little bit out of range.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with her. I think that going Edge of Night second is pretty easy as Varus. You can easily get that, and it's not going to get popped this game. Like, you're not going to get hit by Vel'Koz Q. So I end up blocking Karma. Karma will also help you avoid Bard ult. You go Shorelia and Karma E, you can probably just outrun Bard. Karma Var is obviously a good combo. I do think that when you're playing with Udyr, having an Enchanter support like Karma is a pretty good pairing because it helps Udyr run in. Something like Nautilus would not be bad either, or Leona. I know people will think, Leona Varus cleanse value. It doesn't matter if it's cleanse value, because they will already want to have cleanse versus Varus. If Jinx plays versus Varus and does not go cleanse, then Varus can ult her whenever he wants and make her base. Like Leona with Varus is good for the Varus, because if Jinx goes cleanse and Leona forces the cleanse to be used, then she has no cleanse again.
Okay, so no Garen. Question is, did I just steal Garen and tank one game?
Garen is pretty decent into Olaf, but I don't know about the rest of the team.
I mean, it's fine into the rest too.
Yeah, I think Garen is not bad. Because Garen versus these champs is pretty good too.
Garen. Just give me Camille, bro. I'm fine with this.
Again, this is a review, it's not a reaction. So I'm going to show you guys some things that went good, some things that went bad in this game. top getting solo killed. Not a good look for the Olaf pick, gets ignited. Now, only problem Camille would have now is that enemy TP is back, right? So he's full HP. But with Camille having level 3 already, having a larger wave, Olaf cannot realistically just kill her right now, and Udyr is almost done with the clear. Now, first thing for this game that happened, that is a very good thing, is this. Like, obviously Camille killing Olaf solo was great. But this is super good. This is good teamwork from them, and Aribo wasn't ganking a lot in the past, but here, his camps are spawning top, bot to top. So normally you would go here. But Olaf's wave is bouncing, okay? It is bouncing into Camille. Now, Olaf has Ghost, sure, but Camille Udyr has pretty good gank, and Udyr still has Flash. So only thing I would critique for this gank is that there's no need to rush it. And this is a pattern we're gonna notice later on in this game as well. What will Olaf do 5 seconds from this freeze frame? He'll walk up and farm, right? But you don't let him walk up and hit. So now Udyr had to Flash for this. You still kill him, but you lost your Flash. There's no point to save 5 seconds here. 5 seconds won't matter between Nocturne taking your camps, right? If you wanted to take your camps, you would have skipped his Krugs and run there. And then 5 seconds won't matter. You shouldn't lose Flash. But the idea of ganking was good. But then, of course, when you do that, what happens on the other side? Because again, Varus Karma, they want to fight a lot, blah, blah, blah. So enemy bot lane crashes the wave. Now enemy bot is missing. You can assume they based, but, you know, looking at their resources, they could stay and be okay. Varus doesn't kill the wave insta together with Karma. Wave is now mismanaged, which is really bad. Because now you're bouncing a cannon wave into enemy team. You cannot one-shot this cannon wave. There's no way. So Varus is f***ed now, no matter what he does. Watch this. You cannot one-shot this cannon wave. So what will happen? Now you're frozen on. Karma gets a roam timer from recalling quickly, which is fine. That's good for her. But it should never come with the cost of this. So what could we do instead? You look at the wave. When a wave crashes into you like this, then you and your support should one-shot it together. It doesn't matter if, let's say, you lose a CS or your support takes a CS. You know this is a cannon wave. 530, there will always be a cannon wave in the middle of your lane. Why don't we just EQ this wave as Varus with a Karma Q, and the wave is just dead, and we just reset. If these guys stay for another wave, they have to one-shot the cannon wave. You're gonna lose like a melee, and you'll have tempo on the map. That is much better. But they didn't kill the wave as a duo together, so the wave met this wave, and now created a bounce. And this creates now the problem when they roam to mid. If Karma now shows somewhere or anything, Jinx can just freeze, can look to fight Varus, Bard could even gank Varus when he's back, and now Varus falls pretty far behind, to be honest. And Jinx mismanaged the wave and broke the freeze, and then they wanted to do Dragon instead. Why would Karma go to top side here? Because her team is doing grubs. So as Jinx, when you break your freeze to push for Drake, it no longer makes sense because this is not something that will get contested. And you're not even helping leashing the Drake because now your wave is bad, so you have to push it out. So now Varus, who should have gotten like really punished from Karma's roam timer, now can catch this. You see, Jinx still is yet to hit the Drake. So the only good thing for Jinx is that she gets to hit the turret. Cork is even in base, which is like obvious. That did not make sense at all. We're either looking to gank top again. So this is why I was saying I think patience is a problem that they had. We look at this wave. Who wins 1v1 right now? Camille. Camille has Ignite. This guy has no sums. Look at items. Camille should be fine. You should not be ganking this as a jungler. Because why would Olaf walk up? Why do I need to gank this now? The wave is gonna bounce. The wave will be here in 30 seconds. Udyr should just run here, stand here 2 seconds in case he just randomly ints it. But since he isn't gonna int now, Camille isn't even here, there's no need to gank and force it now. It is so bad to do this and only get his ulti. Because again, what will happen on the other side? In this case, Jinx lost all his HP and all you did was lose your blue buff. But your team should always get punished or something bad should happen when jungle shows, and it's just bad for him individually, right? So I think that when you're in this situation, you should just understand my top wins 1v1. I don't actually need to gank this. And I can just let Camille freeze. Olaf will never walk up to try to crash this wave. And if he does, he will die 1v1. So Udyr's presence does nothing. Camille should just act like jungle is here. So here, something happens that I don't think is good. When you are in like a winning position, you shouldn't try to trade. So who's winning? Well, obviously Team Nemesis is winning from the top side. Are they winning elsewhere? Yes. You might think bot lane is losing. Yes, they are. But there is more than just items and gold. There's position on the map and tempo. So what's happening? Nemesis gets a massive chunk on Vel'Koz. This shouldn't just be Vel'Koz bases and we do nothing. We should not be doing grubs here. Udyr and Karma should be running across mid, chase into their bot side jungle. This does 2 things. 1, you can contest a camp and try to take it. But more importantly, you keep vision of Nocturne, you get mid push. You allow Varus time to clear this wave. If we can use the fact that Vel'Koz is in base for items, we can negate their bot lane play. Look what happens now. Corki pushes mid, this is good from Neme. Karma loops around, that's bad, and Udyr starts grubs, that's bad. These guys should be getting like chased right now. Then Varus would be farming this. You would get bot vision, and then Varus could farm this with Karma. Once you push out mid and bot, if you then choose, hey, we don't want to team fight Drake, let's go grubs, you can do that, and your bot is not going to get dove like this. This situation is not going to happen if you play it like I'm saying. And of course you could contest Drake, but if you don't want to contest Drake because Vel'Koz is stronger than Corki right now, blah blah blah, that is fine, but there's no way Varus should be getting this fucked here when we are winning on mid lane. The Bard and Nocturne should not be allowed to go on bot side on this crash, and we should be able to push out bot lane. Bot turret gets really chunked as well. You do end up getting the turret onto Jinx though. Jinx rushed Kraken. I'm not a fan of Kraken on Jinx. Jinx, I think you should aim for IE into PD, and then you can go for LDR or BT or whatever. I think the problem with Kraken is you really need PD and you really need IE on the champion. By going Kraken IE LDR, then you have no PD. If you go Kraken PD IE, you have no LDR. Only advantage is like build path. It's maybe easier to build because sometimes you might not have BF sword. So it's a bit of a problem here though with Corki, right? Because this is the one thing I would judge Nemesis the most on, I think, in this tournament. The way he side lanes. I think in future tournaments, if people realize, they could look to bully Nemesis in this situation. Neme really wants to CS. He wants to get strong, he's playing Corki, blah blah blah, right? Makes sense. Make total sense. Of course he wants gold as Corki. Let's look at the map. Karma's here. You have no vision. You have no control. Vel'Koz has mid push. So Vel'Koz can one-shot this wave and fog down. Where's the wave? Wave will be in the middle. If Corki steps foot here, he will die, unless enemy team shows here. So Neme could play with the idea, I'm gonna stand in fog, and when they show on this ward or something, then I'm gonna walk up for fire. That is fine mindset to have, but then what do you do if they do not show on the wards, right? Sometimes enemy has a reason to show on the wards, and then it like makes sense, but how are they gonna show? Because even if enemy team shows like here or here, it is very scary to be here. So when you're Corki in this type of cases, what should you do? So he gives his bot turret, which makes sense, right? And then now Varus should try to get mid push as a result of that. And then now if Karma wants to recall, he should already be in base, but Karma wastes wards, right? So now Karma base is late, because Karma should be walking with this wave on the map. You play League by waves, you don't play it by anything else, you play it by waves. So when this wave comes, Karma has to be on the map, either to help on bot or to help on mid, and we should be helping on mid. Now the problem is, Corki should try to go mid here to help on this wave, but they don't have a Karma. Corki, because he cannot step up here, Corki should just go here and help push with Karma and like Udyr, and then they should go for vision. So my problem is, when you start to queue bushes like this, you can tell Nemesis is scared, right? He just queued that bush. Now you're flipping. There you flipped it. There you just flipped. That is a problem. So they can all be screaming, guys, go Corki, go Corki, go Corki. And then they Nocturnal you and Bard comes. Sure, Corki has flash. He can probably live with W and flash. But that is pretty bad to just lose your flash here against the losing team. Because the losing team needs a way back in the game. And if you start losing your flash and then dying on side, it's pretty bad. I don't think Nemesis has any intention of actually wanting this wave without seeing them. And you can tell by how scared he is, right? That's why he just really has to suck it up, and if he wants CS, he should just take Varus's wave, because Karma is late on the map, so we can't control. Like, if Udyr has Karma here with him, right, and Corki is here, this invade will not be happening. But they're so split because Karma's delayed recall, and Corki's standing here, instead of standing in jungle and helping, like, control. Because if they send a guy to push this wave, the advantage you have is that you have numbers here. That's why I hate standing AFK like this, and instead he should just AFK closer to his team, and then of course if he sees these guys go here or whatever, you can step up on the wave. When you realize you can't go for this middle wave, you should just stand here closer to your team and wait for the information to change the situation. Because yeah, this wave as well, like, this does not really matter. If you now start going here and you start to push this, then again you're gonna lose control over the dragon. So if Corki wants CS, he should just take Varus's wave. Taking one wave from Varus because of one dragon is really fine, especially if you look at the game state, this Varus is not going to carry. Because yeah, like now, the Camille, who's like massive, is really split from where the fight would take place. Rather than if we open the map on mid, if let's say they Nocturne ulti Corki here, when Corki is hitting the wave here, Camille is coming. Because now we're just hitting Drake and like starting this in river, but we don't have control, right? So Nocturne just goes in crazy, right? Which is big mistake. Now massive Udyr RR. And the fight ends up pretty good for Team Nemesis, but why should this be the case, right? Why can't it be better? is my point. Open map for mid, get mid push, and then go from there. At this point, game is pretty much done.
I need help.
Jinx has LDR.
Think close, guys.
Hey, hey,
Oh,
hey,
shit.
hey, hey,
Nice.
I have
Don't
moment
go
speed
out,
on
it's
you.
40 seconds
I'm
for
flashing.
We
Drake.
are fine, we are fine.
It is almost there.
Nice.
Snipe. Very nice.
I mean, care about
Slowly.
Olaf.
Jinx reset, cut
I'm on
Jinx.
Jinx. I'm on Jinx. I'm on Jinx.
She has flash, she has flash.
End me.
Can we? I will have 6 drops.
Yes, we can.
Starting off with Seri first pick. Keep in mind, this is a flex. Drutut likes to play stuff like Seri.
But Hwei is not a champion.
Oliver.
They
Take it
see
away.
it.
Let's stop them, no?
Bro.
The only problem when you're looking Braum like this is that you see 2 melees, and Braum is good against them, but you don't see their carries. Braum is not good against mids like Talia. Enemy mid likes to play things like Vel'Koz, things like Seraph. The Braum into Nautilus idea isn't as amazing as it sounds when, again, you haven't seen their ADC, you haven't seen their mid, so you're not guaranteed to get as much value. It is a fine pick into Nautilus, but so is many other things. Like you could go Leona into Nautilus, and it's fine.
Okay, let's
I wanna
see.
go
This is
Gwen.
always good now.
I think
Like,
I
trust
am.
me, just not all, it's fine.
I think I
Just
am.
take it away. And it's still like a little bit of a flex.
Yeah, and they think it's top lane.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
Oh my god.
Yeah, they think it's top lane.
Oh my god.
So now Darius gets picked, which is another champion of enemy top lane. So now Darius, Olaf, Garen is gone, which is basically his best champions, enemy top lane. And now you can make the choice. Do I go Garen into Darius, surrender my early game and hopefully make it out of lane alive and then I can start to win? Or do I now counter the Darius and I put Garen jungle? I would go Garen jungle as well here. Darius blind can be a problem. And then picking Darius gives Braum more value.
This is just a Vayne game, no?
Or did they?
They're gonna steal it, lol.
That's so good. Pretty good. You can also
Put me on
top lane.
Zeri, put me on Zeri, put me
Put
on
you on
Zeri.
Seri? Okay.
Yeah, Ezreal
yeah.
Braum is really good combo. And it's
Yeah,
like,
Yeah, yeah,
agreed,
nice
agreed.
lane.
Yeah, go. They're like,
I
what
can
the
be
fuck is
fucking
this
good.
drop?
So Nemesis locks in his Syndra. Honestly, Syndra is one of Neme's best champs. Like, he's really good at this champion. My only problem, again, from the get-go, with Braum being picked, you are very vulnerable to getting outranged. Enemy mid likes the way that Team Nemesis is drafted. He is a control mage, long-range player. So when he picks Seraph here, right?
Well, I'm not sure.
What is threatening him in this game? There's nothing. Like, the only threat is like a Seri flanking, which shouldn't be real, or a Syndra flash ulting him, which at that point, I think Seraph's frontline is not doing their job. Not a bad Seraph pick, and the matchup 1v1 is very good, honestly, for Seraph, especially when he has Volibear versus Garen, because the way Syndra beats Seraph is for early push and ganking him if he tries to channel Q, like you can easily land stun on him then. But there is nobody to follow up on the stun. Seraph, if he plays properly and wards properly, he can't really die to ganks. Whereas if you have something like Syndra Rek'Sai, then Seraph is very vulnerable, right? Gonna be a pretty hard game for Neme, honestly, in lane, because he can't, like, try to win. He should just play to push lane and avoid harass, and just hope that Garen will, you know, be stronger than Volibear if he lets Aribo farm. Seraph can't stop Syndra from farming as long as you play to push. Seraph's cooldowns are relatively long early. He can only Q you once if Syndra plays to push the wave. Looking at mid, Syndra getting low, probably gonna have to TP back. Losing your TP as, like, control mage versus Seraph feels really bad, because Seraph's lane only gets stronger and stronger, so that sucks a bit. He does get a good base though, and he still has a potion which will help him out. Eventually Syndra will get poked out in this matchup, and so now not having TP, you can't just TP back. So ideally he finds a way to lane to keep his TP. Now though the matchup starts to shift a bit. What I didn't like when I watched this lane, if you watched this last 1 minute sequence on mid, how would you play this if you were the Syndra? Seraph outranges Syndra so hard. So the most annoying Syndras that I find to play against a Seraph is the Syndras that just W's and Q's the wave and plays to push. Here Seraph is channeling Q, right? And you use Q. Syndra should be able to just push this before Seraph now and only get poked by this W. But Syndra is playing to E and fight with this guy. If Syndra just EQW this, she would never have to stand where she's standing now. She could stand here and just farm the cannon safely. But he's standing so close, gets poked, and you'll see on next wave he plays again to try to chunk the Seraph, but Seraph outranges Syndra. So I just think Neme's only goal in this lane should just be to push, and even if you lose HP, as long as you push the wave quickly, you can look for honey fruits at this timer too. He's losing a lot of CS, and is not able to trade, because he fishes for trades in a matchup where, in my opinion, it's not real. Now though, Nemesis team kinda just griefs him. Team Nemesis plays way too fast here. They're playing as if they are on a timer. Garen has a lot of camps up, and Aphelios cannot stay here forever. They should just use this ward and this ward for information of enemy teams starting grubs. You shouldn't be the one starting grubs in this situation when their ADC could potentially come. You should just farm your camps. Probably Garen is close to 6 as well, yep. So Garen will get 6 from that, which puts him ahead of Volibear. And then this gives Ezreal time to work with information given. But instead they're playing so rushed, which does not make sense. Their laners haven't even connected. Seri doesn't even want to come because she would just lose the wave. They're just very tunneled gameplay. One thing I will say about this sequence though, once you die like this, right? When you die like this as bot lane or as top lane, like it doesn't matter, okay? Doesn't matter what role. If you die in this situation and you're Ezreal, if you run to bot lane, will you get this wave? No, this wave is dead, right? So people need to stop thinking about this wave. So why am I going bot lane? I'm going bot lane for the next wave. Where is my jungler going? I'm not going to dragon. My mid is in base. Drake is gone. So you know your jungler is going top, which means enemy jungle is bot side. Volibear with ulti up. So obviously they can dive you. You are being frozen on. So Ezreal will never lose more than one wave if he goes top lane here. This wave is already gone. So losing this is not the right term. It's already lost, no matter what you do. So this wave here is the real wave you want to farm, but they can just dive you on it. So instead, it's a much smarter play to have Ezreal Braum go topside where the Garen is, and you can just dive the Darius. You can have 4 people dive the Darius. Sure, Aphelios will hit your turret with red-white, but he's gonna dive you and do that anyways. Because now if you guys just stay bot, right? Doesn't matter that Braum meets Volibear here, he can jump to Ezreal. So what's the point of being bot lane? Like now you're bot lane and they could dive you already. Like here they dive you without a wave. Nobody being on the mid wave. Seri realizes you have to get on mid, so he goes on the mid wave. But again, Team Nemesis does this, which I did in the last game. Like your Seri is on the mid wave and you start Drake already. And then everybody's like hitting the Drake. When you're hitting Dragon, you need to realize what's everybody's job. Garen has no purpose. He's not a tank and he doesn't have poke. Garen should be the one hitting the Drake, not Ezreal. But Syndra and Braum and Ezreal, they have to stand and make a line and look to poke the people trying to contest mid and trying to contest this bush. But Ezreal is focusing on DPSing the Drake. You lost mid push and you lost control of this. Now you're getting pushed into this corner and you're getting sandwiched. And that's why I hate just rushing Drake rather than protecting your vision and trying to poke people as they enter. If you're not willing to poke them when they're entering, you shouldn't like trying to fight, right? Team Nemesis just f***ing one-shots. Pretty much the story of the series so far. They just win regardless of what they do.
Come on. Yeah.
Okay,
Wait, malta. Beren.
easy. Kurva mać.
Yeah, I have Rob with
Take a
him.
base in mid.
Guys,
Okay,
what do you wanna do? 1-3-1? Wanna play for...
I think one side then.
So let's look at how they use Nash. Who do you want on side? Who do you want to group? When you think about who should group, you think about who's tanky, who can engage, who can disengage, who has range to like siege. So Syndra should be grouped, right? So when Syndra goes bot, you have to follow the Syndra. Doesn't matter if Syndra has TP. If Syndra goes bot lane, you should play with Syndra. So team goes to Syndra. That makes sense. But what I think doesn't make sense though is that what is Garen's purpose grouped? I think that Ezreal being grouped here with Muramana stacked makes way more sense. And Garen will rotate faster than Ezreal too. And if Seraph tries to like defend versus Garen, Garen can just dive the Seraph as well. Nemi is egoing a little bit hard here. Like this is a really trash place for Garen to fight in. Like Garen can't run in here. So yeah, I just think they're playing a little bit too fast. And if they just play slow and have Ezreal group and poke, I think it's really good what they're doing. When you're against champs like Nautilus, champs like Vi, the guy that has flash really has to like ego. It's not his job to do this. It should be the Ezreal poking. It should be the Seri trying to like make Nautilus angry. If this Seri gets Nautilus ulted and then eased away and flashes or something, and that creates a fight for Syndra to 1v9 in, then that is good. Same if Ezreal does it. But it's kind of Neme doing everything. Like Seri is like AFK, and Ezreal is on mid. But Ezreal could be here just doing whatever he wants. Seri shouldn't be standing in this bush, should be removing this wave, right? And try to like Q Nautilus if he ever walks up the hook and stuff like this. And just try to fish for turret hits. But yeah, mainly Ezreal has to be here. It's mainly Ezreal's job. This is something I really dislike that happens a lot in this tournament as well. Which is, if you look at red team here, what do you see? Imagine you're Seraph in this situation. Do you see Garen? No. Do you see Braum? No. Watch this.
Hello there.
Now we see Garen. Now we see Braum. But why? Why do you do that? Why do you show yourself? You think Ezreal needs help to kill this? It doesn't matter if you want to take this turret. Ezreal can do that. Why aren't you fishing for Seraph and helping Syndra? If you randomly start showing yourself on waves for no reason, you make the guy on the opposite side, the Seri or the Syndra, you make them more of a target because enemy team knows there's nobody backing them up. If you stay in Fog, Seri can act like she has a team, right? In this case, Seri is trolling because even though her team is in Fog, where would they be in Fog, right? If Garen is here, Seri is dead before Garen can help. I think Syncroft does a good job though trying to make something happen. Like it's always Syncroft and Trayton running around looking for things, right? I think sometimes they're like, their desperation takes over, you know? But like, their ideas is good. They're trying to catch some guy inting. But Braum makes it very awkward for Syndra here. Braum should not be afraid to like take control of line bush here. When you have such a fed mage, you should just help your mage connect. It's not legal for Braum to get hooked. Syndra will one-shot anybody. So Nemme having to like run this way because Braum kept standing here is pretty bad. And then now Braum running like this instead of like this is really bad. But yeah, Nemme has no stun now. Braum is not standing in front of Syndra, which is really troll. Nemme just gets one-shotted. Now, it's still winning for blue team, this fight, and ends up winning. But yeah, my main criticism in this game is just like, you're playing with such a fed Syndra, and it's so hard for Syndra to create space, because nobody's helping him create space, right? The Ezreal was pushing mid with Baron, instead of grouping here poking. But on the other hand, Nemme is also not adapting to the cards that he's dealt with.
We got the tank. Slå him from first, not the first. Nice.
I have ult, I can just... I mean, I don't know, I mean, we have to kill Zars, he's gonna wave the rest.
I guess.
Bottom, bot. I got... He flashed.
Good job.
I think we can, no? Like, we can do this.
This is so risky though.
Ah, I'm dead.
You don't have to die from me, bro.
Finish the game, go.
No, finish.
Go.
Trust it Nexus.
Good job.
Nice. Good job. Only one left. Let's fucking go.
Good job.
Getting into game plan, you look at Gwen, she has no flash, and you picked Set. It's a very bad champion. I think Seju should play for top. When you're playing this game, you should think who can carry this game from both teams. When I look at Robola's team, I think all their champs can carry like the same amount. They don't have like the Gwen late game. They don't have the Tristana late game. They just have Hui and Jhin. I rarely ever see Jhin carry a game. This game, I don't think it's gonna be any difference. I don't think Jhin is gonna like 1v9 this game. But I really think that you have to force things around top lane. If you do, then if Set gets ahead, that can pay off. Because then you can have a winning side. And in general, you're playing Sejuani with a melee top versus a carry melee top, making Gwen behind really high priority. Obviously, eventually Gwen will outscale anyways. But if you snowball top really hard, Gwen can never get to the point where she outscales. So if Seju does 3 camps and ganks top, for example, Ariba will most of the time just full clear. Obviously, Ariba will have a lead over Seju then, but Sejuani should be fine tanking that. You shouldn't want to AFK farm versus AFK farm Amumu. If Syncroft can like realize this, and they can try to gank before she wards, because here he does Raptors into red, right? But he could just even skip Raptors and run to top. And again, they should just fight and block her from warding. It's very easy for Seth to do that. He just stands on creeps, and if Gwen goes to ward, he just walks up and acts like Seju is there. And Gwen will never face check the bush then. Because the fact that she gets this ward down is so bad. Now it's so hard to gank. But also, Sejuani is losing prio in mid. Tristana can fight Hui whenever he wants, and he can just push this wave. So, what's the point of doing full clear? If you do full clear now, you already lost this. The only way you get this is if Amumu recalls unless you have it. Which is fine, then you get it, but then you're both 28 CS. You don't have a lead. So I feel like if I was Sejuani and I see this, my whole game plan this game, get a lead on top, or to make Amumu try to come top, because then you should be willing to fight 2v2. This is something that happens a lot in solo queue as well. So Nemme ends up getting the bot turret, and now we have an interesting situation. Because we have a timer where both solo lanes can recall at the same time. When that happens, you should always think who should go top and who should go bot. For me, it's really simple. Tristana has a shutdown. In my opinion, gold on Tristana is slightly better than Gwen. Gwen getting gold is great. So the gold for Gwen to get would be this turret. But Tristana can get the turret easier. But more importantly, Trist has a shutdown, no flash, and is just a bit more vulnerable by herself. So with the objective being Herald and up in 20 seconds, Nemme and Drutut, they should just swap. Here, Gwen should not cancel the base and hope that this guy walks up. That's probably what he's thinking, like, maybe this guy walks up and maybe I'm killing him. I'm gonna get an extra wave and make him lose that wave. It's just worse because now if Tristana goes top, you're making Tristana lose a wave. So now Tristana will naturally want to go bot. Gwen could have used a gold and been bot already and been ready to TP just like Neme. Tristana should not be TPing into a fight late and looking to flank. That is what Gwen should be doing. Now finally, let's see how they use their Nash.
Go, 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 go. Go, go, go.
Hold on, bro. We don't know where they are. We might be into 5 people.
We are fighting.
I'm gonna ult them.
I'm
for
not
you, maybe.
tipping. I am not tipping there. I'm not tipping there.
Oh, what can I tell you?
I'm gonna keep pushing.
I killed them all! I'm dead though!
Gwen aces them. Here you're like low-key 2v4ing. And they won this. You can say Gwen is 3k gold ahead. Amumu is 1k gold ahead. They're just fed. Basically 2v4. Of course you can win that. But why? Why play the game in that way, right? It's really stupid from Drutut as well. And they have thrown games or lost situations because of stuff like this. Why do you do this and give them a chance? I get it. Drutut is good at Gwen. He knows Gwen limits. Why would you try to 2v4? But oh well. They win the game. 3-0. Well done. Good job to Team Nemesis.
Rencontrer simplement et tu n'as rien